back to So You Say You're Married. Today, I'm very excited to have some special guests on with us. This is Ashely and Andrew Mrozkowski. They own PedalJava out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and they have an amazing story. That PedalJava is a coffee company that they have started, and it is literally what it sounds like. They pedal to you on their bicycles with coffee in tow, and they're able to serve you this boutique coffee with the most amazing sparkling personalities. So with that, I want to toss over to Andrew and Ashely and let them tell you a little bit more about themselves and the story behind PedalJava.
All right. So you think you get married? Thank you. Thank you for having us on your show. We are delighted to be here. First off, I'm sorry that my wife's notification went off right away. The minute I was supposed to, we are turning our phones on silent. I don't even have mine on me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So we did start PedalJava 5 years ago. And the basic story is this. We were planning a wedding. And we had gone to several bridal fairs, learning about bridal vendors, wedding vendors, and catering and flowers. And one day she drugged me at 9 a.m. to a bridal show after I had a night out with the boys. And I was not feeling my best. And more than anything else, I wanted a nice, strong cup of coffee. We looked around the whole bridal. I mean, we had hundreds of thousands of square feet full of wedding vendors, and none of them provided a coffee bar service. So we decided right after we got married, we were going to look into starting a business to serve coffee at events.
Absolutely. And that was actually our first contract. Is after that show, we got involved with the Knoxville Convention Center and started doing events there right after we got married.
So what was the story behind the bicycles? Why specifically that?
Well, I mean, it goes back to my love of bikes. I've been a cyclist since I was a kid. And I've always just been completely fascinated by things with wheels, as a lot of young boys are. So it didn't matter whether it was bicycles or skateboards or roller skating, anything that involved balancing on wheels, I was absolutely insane about. I had seen some pictures of these coffee bicycles in Europe. And I thought they were fantastic, big industrial tricycles that served coffee. And I had seen pictures of these chai carts in the cities in India. And I thought, now if I could do something like that, but do it decidedly Southern, I think people would like it. So we ditched the chai. We added Southern flavors and Southern coffees that Southern people would enjoy. And we started working on building the first coffee bikes.
Wow. So you get your exercise, don't you?
It's a fairly decent amount of exercise, not just the cycling part, but serving coffee at a busy event will, when you're on your feet for 12, 14 hours a day, you do get a workout.
Yes, you do.
So you guys have been doing this for several years now, and I want to preface this by saying part of the reason I invited PedalJava on to the show today is because Christmas is coming up, and we're all looking for that perfect Christmas gift or that perfect Christmas experience for our spouse. And I wanted to showcase PedalJava on their products, which we'll get to a little bit later in the interview. But I also wanted to showcase them because they are a married couple who has chosen to go into an entrepreneurial venture together. And that means they're together 24/7. So all of you that are having problems with the COVID 2020 and spending all that time together, I wanted to get some perspective from people who do it all the time, even before pandemic, without having that as a factor into their lives. So for you guys, what made you decide to go into a business together where you were going to be spending all of your time together outside of work and during work?
Well, one thing I can say is we are polar opposites when it comes to business. So I am a saver. I don't like risk. I like everything very calculated. And he is definitely the risk taker. He's definitely the spender. And in a business, it's a good thing. In a business relationship, it's really important to have both. And so there is nobody else on this earth that I feel like would balance me and my ideas and my conservative, oh, I don't want to spend that. like he does. So we have great middle ground, I think.
And on the other hand, without that leash holding me back, I would have driven us to the point of bankruptcy years ago.
Oh.
So you guys have found a perfect balance, especially financially speaking, on how to run your business. But what about spending all of that time together, extracurriculars, coming up with coffee brews, different ideas? What is that like to spend all of that creativity, all of that time together? And how do you traverse that?
I get a lot of energy from, we call it scheming and planning.
Mm-hmm.
So after we've done our deliveries for the day or all of our shipments, or we've worked an event, we'll sit down and say, okay, what can we do? Let's think, let's talk about it. And it's usually over a big pot of coffee, sometimes a donut or two. We do our best thinking with sweets and black coffee. And
nothing wrong with that.
I always feel very inspired by the ideas he comes to the table with and how we can make them work in our setting. So I get a lot of joy from it. I really do.
I think it's important that if you're working with your spouse, that you delineate tasks and responsibilities. And that's something we've done very well over the last few years. Although we've done it naturally, we've realized over these years that she is inherently better at this part than I am. And I may be better at something else. And so we delineate, we delegate, I guess you would call it in the corporate world. We delegate those responsibilities to those who have the more specific tasks in that area. And then, and then secondly, and I think this is even more important, we trust. We trust the other with that task, with their expertise. The last thing I would presume to do is to charge into her tax filing season and tell her how to categorize these expenses, because I don't look at that, and I don't know much about that area. On the other hand, I build these coffee bikes. We build them right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And there's a lot of fabrication and mechanical knowledge about building bicycles and tiny coffee shops, knowledge that I have pretty uniquely. I don't know anyone else around who has experience building coffee bikes to the scale that I have. So she trusts me.
Absolutely.
Was there a learning curve when you guys first got started on learning how to delegate and learning how to trust with each other?
Oh yeah, I would say 100%. Because we both came from corporate environments where we were the boss, so to speak. And so we both have control issues sometimes, would be the nice way to say.
You have control.
And so just learning to let go and saying, you know what, I can't do it all. You can't do it all. We have to do it together. So I think that was the biggest thing that I learned probably in the first 6 months of being together. And to be pushed outside of my comfort zone and learn about new tasks and things that really go under my umbrella of responsibilities, or tasks that go under his umbrella, and pushing each other to learn those tasks.
And I think it's also important to mention that neither of us were previously entrepreneurs. She alluded to the fact that we both had technology jobs, and we both worked in corporate settings. She worked for a very large cell phone company, the fifth largest in the world, and I worked for the electric utility, and one of the largest in the United States. And so because of that, we had managerial experience, managing people, delegating tasks, checking them for responsibility of completion of those tasks. But neither one of us had ever started a business or run our own business outside of a lemonade stand or a flea market.
Right.
That's a whole new world, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when you're both going into it together and you're both trying to figure out how entrepreneurialism works, you tend to hold on to each other a little tighter, knowing that you could sink or swim without the other.
It's true.
Yes, I completely agree. And Ashely, I want to go back to what you said about control, relinquishing control a little bit, because I know a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of my clients, they're in the same boat as you guys were before you started your business. Corporate jobs, a lot of time the spouse hasn't been exposed to seeing that corporate side or that corporate personality, and all of a sudden everybody's working from home. So they're seeing new sides of their spouse, and they're seeing where some of those control I don't want to say issues, not necessarily meaning the spouse is controlling, but you want to keep certain things to you that you want done a specific way. And they're starting to see where some of that comes from. And it's been eye-opening for a lot of spouses, a lot of husbands and a lot of wives. So what was some of your biggest challenges, or maybe your biggest challenge, when it came to realizing that control and relinquishing it so that you guys could work smoothly together?
Ooh, that's tough. I feel attacked.
She
No, I'm
just
just
loaded
teasing.
that cannon, pointed it right at you.
You came on a marriage show. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I would say finances, 100% for me, because I do the accounting side of our business, taxes. I do the ordering, the inventory. I control the money. And one of the biggest lessons, even going through pandemic, as our operating cash flow has shifted from doing events to selling beans, is delegating money, just like we do responsibilities, and realizing we're in it together and we have to finance our personal lives and not just our business. And that has been a very hard, still working on it kind of issue for me.
Basically, I get an allowance. Sometimes I feel like a 12-year-old, but this allowance is not just for developing new products or investing in gear, but it also helps me focus on repairing gear instead of purchasing new gear. It helps me focus on finding ways to use things creatively and cheaply instead of going out and buying the easiest solution on the market.
And he's so good at that, seriously. I think it's the stubbornness. We're both Tauruses, so we're both bullheaded sometimes. And just his creativity to find those solutions. I think he would do it even if we had all the money in the world. And I really appreciate that about him.
Well, that's very sweet. I've got one. When we first started doing the business, she delegated the branding and the design completely to me.
Yes.
And like a lot of dudes who are into bikes and coffee, I just wanted it to be brown. Everything I wanted to be shades of brown. And in the early design phases, it really looked kind of bland. And she was really quick. This is a simple example to say, you need some bright color. You need a red. And we started working red into our branding. We got beautiful little red and white umbrellas for the coffee bikes. And all of a sudden, from a mile away, you could see this coffee bike and wonder, everybody sees it from a distance and they come running up to it and they say, what is this? I got to learn more about this. And I give a lot of the credit to just that little splash of red that she put on things.
It sounds like you both are, and tell me if this is fair to say, but it sounds like you both are really good at recognizing where to invest in your business and where to invest in your relationship so that you stay strong on both sides.
It's sweet of you to say that, but it's always a challenge. 5 years later, we still have battles over, or small skirmishes over those types of things. Like you said, we're going into the holiday season. And we've been planning our product for a long time. And I'm not going to get too deep into it because we don't have it to show here. It goes live on our website tomorrow. But the planning and the execution and all the steps involved in the labeling and the packaging, and she has the shipping costs involved. All of these things have made, it is one meeting after another trying to figure out how we can do this and make it work. Her holding the purse strings and my ideas just running wild.
Yeah, it's been a lot of compromise, this project. Even up into, and like you said, it literally launches tomorrow on our website. And literally last night we were having packaging discussions again. So like, how do we add to it? How do we make it better? How do we keep it in budget? And so we're not afraid to revisit. That's one thing that I will say about both of us. Not afraid to revisit if, hey, this has changed about our plan. How do we make it better? How do we do this? But yes, lots and lots and lots of compromise.
Negotiation.
Yes, negotiation.
And being fair with those negotiations too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part. Like you say, it's constant work. It's always a challenge, but that's what makes it worthwhile. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Entrepreneurialism is not for the faint of heart.
that's so true.
And you mix your spouse and the most important person in your life in that mix, and it doesn't get easier. It only gets harder from here.
But worthwhile.
Absolutely.
And you learn so much about each other during those processes. So before we dive into your products, which I want to showcase very soon, you before the interview, we spoke on the phone and you told me about your proposal story.
Oh.
And I feel the need to share this. This has to be on the show. So would you guys mind regaling us again with your proposal story?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we met the old-fashioned way. I like to tell people we are old-fashioned people, and so we met online. And I was in Asheville, North Carolina, about an hour from where she lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. We would sort of meet up in the middle for a date, have dinner, have a beer, and go our separate ways. We did this several times. And then finally one day I decided I wanted to be a little closer, and I moved to Knoxville. After dating for about 1.5 years, living separately, I decided I was going to propose to her. Now, if you see what we do, you know that we try not to be stale. We try not to do things that have been done before, and we like to do things in a unique way. And so I decided that I was going to gift her at Christmas with a trip to Washington, D.C. We had both been to Washington, D.C. We love D.C., the museums, the entertainment, just being around something that's so purely American. And so I secretly contacted friends and some family members that were in the Washington, D.C. area, let them know that I was going to be proposing to her on New Year's. The trip was planned for New Year's Eve. Lo and behold, I also booked tickets for the Kennedy Center New Year's Eve celebration, which was the Kennedy Center Orchestra playing Christmas music, followed by a giant party in their lobby with a fantastic Latin salsa dance band.
Fancy.
Yeah, right. I reached out. We had a private tour of the Kennedy Center that allowed us to sit in the presidential suite and get tours of the backstage area and meet some of the people who were putting on the show. But I also used social media, using Facebook. This was so long ago, it was all Facebook. Using Facebook, I reached out to the band, the salsa dance band that was playing at New Year's Eve. And I said, I'm going to be proposing to the woman of my dreams at this concert. Would you please give us a little shout out? I'll do whatever you need to do. But I would love for you to just announce that we were there and we were getting ready to have a good time. And then I would do my proposal. Lo and behold, they agreed to do it in front of 10,000 people at the Kennedy Center. It was announced that we were there. And then before you knew it, we had a big yes, but it almost missed the opportunity. You want to tell her what happened on the way to Washington, D.C.?
Oh gosh. So I was running late, surprise. And I was trying to get all my clothes together and get all my outfits. And we probably left about an hour later than we're supposed to. And so my very sweet boyfriend at the time was trying to make up for time and driving too fast. And we went through this very notoriously, I don't know, speed trappy kind of town, Abingdon,
Virginia. Virginia. Slow down, y'all.
Slow down.
And they're bored in that town. They got to have something to do.
Yes.
You were born there?
No. They're bored.
Oh, yeah.
So he got a driving award.
I did.
As we like to call it.
A Virginia driving certificate.
And we made it just in time, but he couldn't tell the officer what he was about to do because I'm sitting in the car next to him.
And I had every second planned out. Literally, there was no chance of being late. I had people waiting on me. I had this private tour set up. I had leading up to the engagement, I had so many things that were on the itinerary that were all surprises.
Yep.
Oh, so you had, Ashely, you had no idea any of this was going down.
No, I didn't. I knew he was stressed, but I didn't know why he was stressed. I figured it was just trip stress, like you're going out of town with somebody,
Sure.
Things can get a little hairy, but no, it was a total surprise. And the truth is I would have said yes with the Cracker Jack ring outside of our house, here, but that's all right. He did it fancy.
You got drama.
I did get the drama.
You got a story, that's for sure.
That's true.
It is a marriage story. And those are the stories you tell your grandkids and your family for the rest of your life.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And people on your podcast.
That's right.
So any of y'all that are looking for proposal ideas, this is a really good one.
Ooh, yeah. Go smaller. Really. Now that she said a Cracker Jack ring would have worked, I could have saved thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yep. I made my husband so nervous because when he proposed, he took us back to the place that we met, which was a state park in Virginia. It was Natural Tunnel State Park. And it was a super moon. We went to the top of the tunnel. He proposed on Lover's Leap. I mean, it was gorgeous. But before that, I told him, I said, you better put some thought into this when you do propose. Otherwise, I'll say no and we'll do it again. And he was so nervous. He was so nervous. And what I meant by that was, you better not just pop a ring out while we're sitting in the car and go, do you wanna, that's what I meant. But he took it to a whole nother level. So yeah, guys, you can go big, you can go small. Just make sure it's heartfelt.
True. 100%. 100%.
So leading from that, let's talk about some of your products. You guys put together your own flavors and your own brews. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So to give you a little bit of backstory, how we got here, and it'll make more sense about the products. So we were 95% an event-based business before pandemic. So in 2019, we worked 71 big events. And what that meant he would take a team to, say, the Sevierville Convention Center. I would take a team to the Knoxville Convention Center. We'd make drinks and we'd come back together. So when pandemic hit, the big events, they were the first to go. So we had been out of work since March 7th. Literally, we were driving up to the Sevierville Convention Center for a cheerleading tournament. We had 60 gallons of milk in our van, probably 30 gallons of cold brew coffee, probably 20 pounds of espresso. I mean, just perishable stuff in the van. And literally, one of the managers was standing outside doing this, like indicating it's off. And this was Thursday. The event was Saturday.
Oh my
So here we are with probably $600-700 worth of ingredients in the back of our van that will perish. And so we had to make a really quick decision at that moment. And what we did is we worked together and came up with quarantine kits. And so the initial thought behind the quarantine kit was someone would get a pound of coffee, a jar of whipped cream, a flavor of some kind, so caramel, vanilla, white chocolate, so on and so forth, cold brew, 32 ounces of cold brew, and a travel cup. And we would deliver that anywhere in Knoxville for $49. Knox County. So from there, we thought, okay, quarantine kits alone can't sustain us. We already had how many varieties of coffee?
Well,
6?
we started pandemic with only 6 varieties of coffee that we used to serve ourselves. We rarely sold bags of coffee at these events we served.
Right.
We sold cups of coffee.
Right. So from that 6 that we already had, and the success of the quarantine kits, we decided, okay, we need to come up with more varieties and kind of go from there. So within the month, we started our flavored coffee line. And the very first flavored coffee we did was called Devil's Food, which is a triple chocolate flavored coffee. And it was such a hit, so popular, we decided to do more. So
Devil's Food, ironically, has my lovely wife as the devil. And we had these fantastic artists come in and work with us. And the key thing we wanted to do was to expand a product that we could continue to sell, even though there were no events going on.
Right.
So people will say, oh, you were so smart to do that. Oh, that took some thinking ahead. Absolutely not. It took panic. It took crying ourselves to sleep at night. It took brainstorming sessions trying to come up with ideas how we could create new products while we were really on a shoestring budget.
I mean, teeny tiny little budget.
So we started by experimenting with all natural flavors and using our existing lines of coffee and flavoring them for people who enjoyed flavored coffees in the morning. And although neither one of us at the time were huge flavored coffee enthusiasts, we learned that there was a huge market for it. And we learned that we had never really had really good flavored coffee before.
Absolutely.
And by using all natural ingredients instead of chemical additives, we found a way to flavor coffee very subtly, in a way that gives you those tasting notes naturally from the coffee, but also gives you things like chocolate or hazelnut or pecan pie or pumpkin, and flavors that people really enjoyed that we could get behind and support because we believe in them.
That sounds delicious.
So we went from 6 varieties of coffee now to 15 varieties in the matter of 5 months.
That's impressive. How long did it take you guys to come up with, let's say, one flavor? How long does it on average take you guys to come up with a new flavor?
Well, it's not as long as you might think. And the reason for that is we only use all natural flavorings. A lot of flavored coffee companies out there, especially the ones that you see in the grocery store, are using chemical flavors, and they're synthetic flavors that you find in like the candy that you see in the candy aisle. None of these are particularly healthy for you, and none of them are particularly accurate as far as what they flavors taste like. So when we decided to use only all natural flavors, it really reduced the number of flavors that we could offer. It didn't increase it because there are so few natural flavors available to us. So we had to get creative with mixing flavors together and trying to come up with new and exciting mixes of these flavors. The Devil's Food in particular was a blend of 3 different chocolates that we stumbled upon pretty much immediately. It was super easy. We put the 3 together in equal parts, tried it on the coffee, thought it was too strong, did it again with less of it. Okay, now we're dialing it in, less of the white chocolate, more of the milk chocolate. And within, one day we had dialed in that triple chocolate flavor. None of the others came as quickly or easily. Hazelnut was one example. That is one natural flavor to that one, and it was super easy. But then we have others like our new Only Have Pies for You, which is our pumpkin pie flavor, which is a mix of 4 all natural flavors. It's
that's cute.
Vanilla, graham, and cinnamon. And those 4 flavors were tricky to get in the right mix.
Yeah, they really were. It probably took us 2 weeks maybe on the Only Have Pies for You, just because
the longest is the one that's coming out next.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Can we tell them what it is?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and tell them.
It's a chocolate peppermint, okay? If you're familiar with those little silver rectangular chocolate mints, you see them.
Like mints.
Oh, that's a trademark. You can't say that.
My bad. We'll have to bleep that out.
My name is Andy.
Right.
And these are mints that I love. So yes, they are called Andy's mints. But it's not the mountains in Peru. It is your loving mustachioed coffee bicyclist. Okay, so Andy's mint comes out in about 2 weeks. And just the tiniest, too much peppermint.
It's toothpaste, honey. Oh, it's awful. It's way too much.
So it's taken us a lot of time to dial that one in. I'd say we've been working on that one for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not just us. We test it with people we know and love and trust their opinions about coffee. And we give them small samples of it and let them brew a pot, or let them run it through their reusable K-cup, or we let them use it in a pour-over cone. And then we don't wait to hear a couple of days. We're hitting them for opinions on this coffee within minutes of them trying it.
Absolutely.
Well, you have to, otherwise you're losing valuable time on their product there.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest. Please don't judge me. I'm not a coffee drinker, really. I'm a tea drinker primarily. I love teas, different flavors of teas, but I've never tried flavored coffee. So now that you're talking about chocolate in coffee, you have my attention.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to have to try some of your devil's food, I think. But it sounds like your coffee is absolutely delicious. So explain to me your coffee products, because, you know, a lot of people like a little coffee with their creamer. They don't like a little creamer with their coffee. So how does your subtle notes of flavoring in your coffee differ from, say, going to your local coffee shop that is going to fill it full of creamer and sugar, and then give you that flavor that way? What are the differences there?
Well, I would honestly say all of our beans with the natural flavors, we roast everything medium. Okay. So it's not
our flavored coffee.
Our flavored coffee is all roasted medium. And because of that, it's not overpowering. It's not bitter. It's very smooth. So I have a lot of help me, Lord have mercy, friends and family that maybe do keto or do intermittent fasting. And what they'll do is they'll take our flavored coffee and drink it without cream, without anything, because it gives more subtle flavor than, say, just a regular black, maybe a very acidic coffee. So it helps them, say, from a diet perspective. I would also say our coffee can be cold brewed or hot brewed because it is medium roast when we talk about those flavors. And so people can really customize it to what they like or what they need. One example is we sell a kit called the World's Best Cold Brew Kit, and it comes with a cold brewer and a pound of coffee. So for all of my friends that drink iced coffee year round, this is a better alternative without all the acidity. Cold brew kind of takes some of those acid and bitter notes out, leaves you with the smoothness and caffeine, and all of the flavored coffees can be treated that way too. So I really love that people can customize it and make it their own without having to add tons and tons of, say, syrups or sauces or even creamers to it.
And we're unapologetically Southern.
We are, absolutely.
And we sweeten our tea to the point that hummingbirds think it's their food. And we're not lost on sweeteners in coffee. In fact, our website sells all of those syrups and flavors with pumps, so you can make your own coffee shop at home. But these flavored coffees are not pre-sweetened. They're only pre-flavored. So you don't have the health concerns with drinking 3 or 4 cups of Starbucks white macchiatos every day because of the calorie intakes from those. And so you're getting flavoring, but not sweetener. So some people add sweeteners to them. Some people, like her diet friends, don't. But what we did find is that the flavored coffees dovetailed nicely with our single origin line of coffees, which are not flavored, but roasted at a variety of different levels. And even though we're Southern, we have a line of very pretentious single origin coffees that come from all over the world that have natural tasting notes like lemongrass and citrus and cocoa and walnut. And we have lots of these coffees that are frankly cheap compared to some of the, they're a few dollars cheaper than the flavored coffees. And if your goal is to find a coffee where you can taste the environment and the soil of Costa Rica and imagine yourself we've got Costa Rica. If you can imagine yourself sitting on the beaches of Nicaragua, enjoying a shade-grown coffee full of notes of pears and walnuts and brown sugar, we have that for you too.
And Costa Rica is really important to both of us. This coffee came from our honeymoon. So when we went,
follow-up wedding story.
That's right. So after we got married, you know, we decided to wait a few months before we took a honeymoon, and we went to Costa Rica for 2 weeks. And we spent 1 week in like the rainforest of Chichagua and near all of the volcanoes and where the coffee was ground. And then we spent a week at the beach and really got to experience Costa Rica. And so when we came back here, we of course had to sell Costa Rican coffee because we fell in love with it in the rainforest with no air conditioning, staying in a hacienda, you know, drinking coffee every morning out of this sock, they call it sock coffee. It like hangs, little filter that looks like a sock, grinds go in it, and then they pour hot water and it makes coffee right in front of you. And, you know, we just kind of fell in love with everything about that country and wanted to be able to bring it back to our family and friends here. So
that sounds amazing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm just listening to you guys. I'm being a little selfish because I'm making categories in my head of perfect Christmas ideas for my husband, because my husband is a coffee junkie. Like, he needs an IV of coffee all day long. That's how he functions. So he used to drink, he's cut back now, but he used to drink about 4 pots a day of coffee. And now he's down to about 1. He's been doing pretty good, but he drinks it black. So he likes the notes and the flavors of coffee just the way it is, just coffee. He doesn't like creamer. He doesn't like sugar. So most of the time I'm always looking for creative coffees that he can try, because he loves trying new ones. He's not a Maxwell House or a Folgers guy anymore. He used to be, until he met me. Then we started expanding those ideas. So as far as Christmas ideas, or just gift ideas in general, you guys have amazing brews that sounds like can appeal to just about anyone on their taste buds, or even if they want to explore something new or something different, they can buy 1 bag, sit down, have a couple's coffee, and really have a good discussion about what they're tasting, what they're experiencing, and still spending time together. So to me, what I'm getting out of this is you guys are bringing people together with an amazing product.
Coffee is the ultimate date.
Yes.
It is a fantastic way to sit down with someone you love and put the brakes on and talk about your lives, or talk about the anxiety of elections, or talk about, you know, worries that you have. And coffee has a way of unraveling problems. In fact, we have a flavored coffee, our hazelnut coffee. We call it tough nut. And a tough nut, when you're working on a car, working on a bicycle or something, if you get a nut that's stuck, boy, you will start to sweat and cuss at it. And when you get it free, it is such a relief. Well, that's what the tough nut is about. And on the label, you can actually see me changing the tire. But do you have a bag of that?
I don't think I do.
Anyway, the tough nut is the perfect coffee for those who are trying to unravel a problem. And just a little bit of grease in the form of coffee, and usually that nut will come spinning right off.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Well, guys, do me a favor. Tell everyone where they can find you if they want to purchase coffees from you, especially now that we've got plenty of time to do it before Christmas. So get on it, people. Get on it. And find you on social media.
Yes. Okay. So our website is PedalJava. That's PEDAL Java JAVA.com. And you can order all of our beans, our kits that we talked about on that website. We also have social media. We have a Facebook, PedalJava. We have Instagram, PedalJava and Mrs. PedalJava. And we have TikTok, PedalJava and Mrs. PedalJava. And so the goals of all of these channels really is to show you all what to do when you buy coffee. It's to be engaging, to be light. In a time that everything is so stressful and full of anxiety, we want to bring kind of a fun spirit to the world and just connect with all of our customers from all over the world.
Yeah, and as a married couple, early on, we started splitting these accounts apart from PedalJava to Mrs. PedalJava. I am married to an amazingly beautiful and captivating woman who really deserves her own platform. And so now, I should mention that when we first started talking about this idea, it was not particularly well received. She thought, this is going to isolate me from the PedalJava brand. I'll be off here on my own. And what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? How will I have my own voice and still support the brand? Well, listen, at the beginning of pandemic, she wanted a cooking show. So we spent a lot of time and money, a little bit of money, but a lot of work and effort into creating a YouTube cooking show. It's still out there. We did 9 episodes, and it was called Cream and Sugar. And it was just like what you see here. A friendly, happy married couple in the South, making coffee drinks, interviewing people, telling jokes. We put a lot of work into it, and nobody watched it. We had a couple of hundred subscribers over the few months that we did it. But it was very discouraging that we weren't getting the traction we wanted on YouTube. But neither one of us knew much about YouTube, and we chalked it up to a learning lesson. In the meantime, she said, in all her brilliant ideas, I'm going to take the same set and I'm going to make 60-second recipes on this new app, new to us, called TikTok. And everybody knows what TikTok is, and the people are dancing and lip syncing. And I've got this girl over here with nearly 100,000 followers soon.
Wow.
And she makes coffee recipes in 60 seconds or less. She's made probably close to 300 of them over the pandemic. And she is now the star of PedalJava.
No.
On her own, making these recipes. All I do is film them. That's all I do.
No, but I couldn't do it without him. And we are a team. Truly, we are a team. It doesn't matter who's on what side of the camera. We're both there in spirit and in brain power.
No, it really does matter. In fact, I came one day, she was not feeling good. She wasn't sick. She just didn't feel like doing recipes. And I went on her show and I filmed her favorite bedside drink. You know, what I make for her in the morning before she gets up. And I wanted to show her audience what she likes to drink. And you know what? They hated me. They were immediate like, where's Mrs. PedalJava? I hope she's better soon. And please give her my love and bring her back. Get you off. So we recognize our talents. We know where those talents begin. And most importantly, we know where they end.
Well, and I would honestly say, like, before we started going into recipes and whatnot, he had this brilliant idea to keep people captivated by recreating 80s music videos. And so at first I was like, this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And it has really been great, though. I mean, it has been a lot of fun for us to do and laugh at ourselves through kind of a yucky year, if we're just being honest. And all of our followers on not just TikTok, but Instagram and Facebook have loved it too. And now he's out here skating, like he is roller skating. And I'm like, I can't do that. And here he is doing it, looking so smooth and talking about coffee and drinking coffee while he's doing it.
You know what?
Insane.
I think the proof is during pandemic, small businesses will do absolutely anything they have to do.
To sell. That's right.
Even at the risk of personal injury.
That is so true.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on roller skating with coffee in hand. Like that just.
He does though.
Listen, I don't always do it well. Just a couple of weeks ago with our new pumpkin coffee came out, Only Have Pies for You. I decided it would be a great idea to roller skate in this giant pumpkin head mask, which completely surrounds your head, 2 small eyes. And it wasn't until I was moving along at a very high rate of speed that I realized I had no peripheral vision at all. And I immediately like swerved into the grass thinking I could stop myself. But the only thing that stopped was my feet. The rest of my body kept going. And I landed on my butt in front of all these people with a pumpkin mask on and bags of pumpkin coffee in my hand. So yeah, I mean, it knocked. You can watch the video. It's on TikTok and Instagram. You can literally hear the second where all the oxygen leaves my body. And you can hear me like gasping for breath. But yeah, we have a small business and we have small business health insurance, which means it's inadequate. We are covered, but I don't want to make a trip to the emergency room if I don't have to. So y'all please buy our coffee, PedalJava.com.
If he's going to continue roller skating, he needs support, guys. Go to PedalJava.com.
I ain't starting to OnlyFans. I ain't starting a Patreon. I just want y'all to buy coffee so I can stop risking my life and limb.
Yes.
I don't know. They might buy coffee because you're risking your life and limb. That could be a problem.
That's exactly what's happened. The more absurd I can get, the more they expect me to ramp it up even more. And the same goes with her recipes too. There are a lot of recipe channels online. People make coffee recipes. And the ones that get her the most views and the most controversy, in good and bad controversy, are the over-the-top drinks. And so once in a while, she'll make what you call like a freak shake. She'll like mix coffee with ice cream and cheesecake and pile it up into this giant monstrosity that really gets people attention.
Yeah.
And sometimes that attention is negative.
Yeah.
But the negative attention feeds the algorithm to social media. You know this. You know the social media trick.
Yep.
So you cannot have a big viral video without some sort of controversy.
It's true. 100% true.
So the pumpkin mask, the cheesecake drinks, all of this feeds into the algorithm, and we know it. Come on, haters. We want you hate comments. Bring it.
That's right.
They welcome the trolls. It's okay.
That's right. That's right.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Everything that you need to do to find PedalJava is going to be linked down in the show notes below. So you'll be able to follow them on TikTok, watch all the antics that they've got going on, follow their recipes, and then also, most importantly, go purchase some amazing coffee. And remember, it's going to make a great gift and a great stocking stuffer. So with that, thank you guys, Ashely and Andrew, so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you being here.
Oh,
thank you so much for the time.
Thank
you. You guys were an absolute delight, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys again soon. Until then, everyone stay safe out there, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.